Okay, so this is just a short information video on how to visually inspect a hoist before use. Okay, so this is the Invacare Birdie Evo Compact with a safe working load of 150 kilograms. Just remember that that is inclusive of all adaptations that the person being hoisted might need, okay? So that's inclusive of oxygen, catheter bags, feeding tubes, anything like that, okay? So what we want to do first off is think about a methodical manner of checking it over. So whether that is top to bottom or whether that is base to face, it's up to you, but start at one end and work your way to an end point, okay? To make sure we don't miss anything out. So starting at the bottom here, we're looking at the wheels and casters. So there are 4 wheels, and what we want to do is give it a little push and make sure that all 4 wheels move independently. There's no resistance or anything when you're pushing it, okay? So checking for any dirt or debris stuck around the wheels, checking that the rubber on the outside of the wheels is still intact and we haven't got any nicks or chunks taken out of it, okay? Coming along a little bit further then, we've got the legs and the chassis. So on this, we're looking for making sure there's no corrosion or anything on the metal, and that actually, when we press this pedal at the back, we open the legs fully, nice and easy, and we can close them again. They return back to their closing area, okay? So coming back, like I said, we've got the foot pedal that open closes the legs, so the rubber on there should all be intact, no wear or tear. Coming up a little bit further, we're looking, if I turn it round, we can see here, this bit here, this is the battery. So you can disconnect the battery and it returns to a docking station for charging. Or alternatively, we can, if we just put it back on, we can also charge through the mains. So we've got a lead that goes into the mains, up through here, and it goes on to charge. We should be looking to put the charge back on hoist after every single use. Okay. Up here then, this big red button here, this is your emergency stop. So, for instance, if I get the remote, if the hoist was coming down, we thought it was going to hit somebody or we weren't happy with what was happening, we can push the emergency stop and it cuts all power to the hoist. Okay, so now, when I press the buttons on the remote, it's not working. Having said that, if you come to use the hoist and you're thinking, no one's put it on charge, check the emergency stop hasn't been pressed, okay? So to release the emergency stop, what we're going to do is just give it a little twist and it pops back out and then we go back to working fine. Okay. The other emergency function we've got on this hoist then is the emergency lower. So we've got one option for the emergency lower, okay, and that is this emergency lower here. So you will see below the red emergency stop, there is another word that says emergency and then there's a little button next to it, okay. So if you get a pen or anything with like a little tiny nib and you pop it in there and press it in, you'll see that the hoist lowers down, okay. So that's your option for emergency lower. If we come around a little bit further then and have a little look at the remote and the flex. So obviously these are like little blister buttons, making sure that there's no cracks or little holes or pinpricks or anything in those. If there is, you'll find it's much harder to use and you might really have to put some force into using it. Okay, remote is easily changed, it just unclips and a new one can be put back on. So any problems with that, report it and we can get it fixed straight away. The flex, so making sure the flex isn't really long and dangling on the floor and every time we pull the hoist we're not going over and over the flex, okay? You're also looking to make sure there are no wires visible and that the actual casing of the flex is intact right the way along, okay? Again, any problems with that, we put a note on it and we don't use it. So coming up a little bit further then, this little bit here, this is the hydraulics. Okay, so I'm obviously not going to get my little screwdriver and take it apart and check it that way, but what you're looking for here is any moisture on the floor, or if you put your hands around it and it feels clammy to the touch or greasy or anything like that, that would say to me that we've got a bit of a leak, okay? So again, you're not going to use it. Coming up then, this bit here, this is the mast, okay? This mast is doing the main bulk of the work for the hoist. It is designed to lift and lower the entire weight of a person. So we really want to make sure that everything on this mast is in good working order, okay? So we're looking at all the little nuts and bolts. We don't want to see any of the threads of any of the screws. If you do, we do not use it, okay? Also, we want to avoid people pushing the hoist by the mast, okay? The hoist is designed to have all of its force and all of its power in this direction from the handles, okay? The minute we push or pull the hoist in this direction, we're putting excessive force on all of those joints that are going to do the lifting of the person, okay? So we should never be pushing and pulling the hoist by the mast, no matter how tight the space we're in. If you need additional help, use the feet or the legs of the hoist to help you manoeuvre that hoist around, but avoid pushing the mast at all, okay? As I said before, it clearly states the safe working load on the mast. Okay, and this is where you would have your service sticker. So there isn't at the minute because it's brand new, but you would have a little white sticker here to say that the services had been and when the next service was due. Okay, coming down a little bit further, then this bit here, this is called the spreader bar. Okay, on this one, this is really nice and ergonomic and it's like an N shape. So if you imagine when it comes in and around the person, it actually comes around the face as opposed to straight in front of the person's nose. Majority of accidents that happen through hoisting are caused because of this. This is a big, huge lump of free moving metal, okay, that is very close to the person's face or very close to us when we're trying to hook the person on and hoist them up. So whenever you're using the hoist, one of us has always got hold of that spreader bar, okay, until it's up and out the way and the tension's in the straps and it doesn't pose a risk anymore, we've always got hold of that. Okay. Having said that, we should be checking it and making sure it is free moving because any stiffness or anything else is going to affect the lift when we start to raise the person up. Coming down a little bit further then, these black rubbery bits, these are called the sling retention clips. Okay. They're really, really high friction and they're designed so that when the sling loop comes on, it sits down in this bowl and it can't come back out. Okay. One of the downsides to that, I would say, is make sure that when you put the sling loop on, you pull it all the way down and into this little bowl. If you don't, it sticks on the side, and then when we hoist the person up, all of a sudden, it comes back down into the bowl and makes quite a jerky, sudden movement, which is perfectly safe, but it's a little bit disconcerting for the person being hoisted. Okay. So right down here at the bottom where we've got the wheels and the casters, we've also got two brakes, okay? Now it is important to remember that when you're lifting or lowering a person in the hoist, we do not use the brakes, okay? Brakes are only used when the hoist is parked and charging, okay? And that is the end of your hoist tour. Okay, so this is just a short information video on visually inspecting a sling before use. Okay, so first thing we're looking for is the overall condition, so it should be in good, clean working order. Okay, the fabric shouldn't have any little rips, tears or frays or anything like that that's going to impede the quality of the fabric when lifting. We're looking at the edge binding, so all stitching should be intact. We shouldn't see any bits of thread hanging off, okay, in the edge binding, although it might seem like it's just there for fashion, it's actually serving a purpose and it's actually helping the integrity of the sling during the lift. These are the webbing straps, okay, so we want to make sure again that all the webbing straps are intact, no one has cut any straps off, and all the loops are sewn on nice and tight all the way around. Okay, any fraying of the webbing straps, we shouldn't be looking to use that sling. Coming down then to the leg pieces, so again the fabric's all in good condition, okay, again no rips or tears, and again we've got more webbing straps at the leg end, making sure they're all intact, just like the top ones. Okay. On the sling we'll have a nice little label, and on that label it should say the make, the model and the safe working load. So just to be clear, there is a safe working load of the sling, just like there is a safe working load of the hoist. Okay, we always only work to the lowest safe working load, no matter whether that's the hoist or the sling, it's always the lowest safe working load. Okay, so on here as well should be the size and then some clear washing instructions. So you can wash it machine washable, normally at quite a high temperature, so this one is at 90, you can't use bleach and you can't tumble dry, so you just leave to air dry. Okay.
Because we're going to be going, what we'd always ask the other person to do, so as you hook on, I would hold the bar. So if you hook on, so pop the orange one just over the black lever here. And then the black on top. Perfect. Okay. Lovely. And then we're going to go long legs, so I'm just going to go with the black.
Yeah.
Now, by going short shoulders and long legs, I'm going to bring Rachel up into a nice seated position. Okay, that's it. I've got the bar. Fabulous. So if you could hold on to the bar for me and just watch Rachel's head while I go up with the hoist. So I will have full control of the hoist at the moment. Okay then, Rachel, we're going to be going up. You okay there?
Yeah.
I'm going to go up nice and slowly to begin with. Thud. Now while we're in this position and we're still over the chair, I'm just going to do a quick full 360 around Rachel, just to make sure that there's no creases or anything. And I can just use a nice flat palm and flatten out any creases that are there. Okay? I'm going to go up a little bit. I want to go minimal height and minimal distance. So if you can hold on to Rachel for me, as I move, I just want you to bring Rachel with you. So if you stand over sort of this way,
Okay.
as we move, then it's just making sure that Rachel's okay. Ensuring that her legs aren't going to swing against the hoist. Okay, fabulous. We're going to go on an oblique angle with me. So I think what we're going to do, Rachel, I'm going to move your legs on this way. Okay, I think that will be the best way to go in. What I'm going to do. You okay there?
Yeah,
It's
go on,
not
you're fine.
swinging, but
Might go up a little bit.
Mhm.
I've got saggy bum.
I didn't go up very high, to be honest.
Yeah, it's clear now.
So now what we need to do actually, Rachel, is we need you to be this way. Okay, what's your knees there?
In the centre.
Just about there, I'd say, as we're going in. And that is as far. Yeah, I knew it would be a lot of swinging. I don't think we'll use this one. There'll be a lot of swinging. Okay. Fab. Now what I would do is I would come in probably with Rachel, because she's able to maintain her own body. I would come in at the shins and assist her that way. You're still not as back as far as I like. We could also, if we wanted to, come in, let's try the hips, right? Are you okay there?
Yeah.
Swing back and forth?
Mm-hmm.
Are you like to just use the hoist for me?
Yeah.
So what we could do to help Rachel to get in a better position is I can come in and actually assist up the hips. So if we go down now, that brings me in a better position, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All the way down?
Yeah, if we go all the way down.
Okay.
Perfect. So someone would be holding on to the bar here. Rachel kind of trusts me, don't you?
Well, yeah.
So we would do that independently. So I would hold the bar, then you would take yours off,
Yeah.
and then you would hold the bar and I would take that off. They are a bit tricky.
It's got a little lip on it, so.
Yeah.
So you know
Right,
that's
so
it.
you can pull up. Yeah.
And then obviously when I'm coming out, I make sure this bar is as far away from Rachel as possible.
Oh.
Yeah, and then these lift up, and then swivel back round, and then lock back in. Off to the beach.
Off to the
Beach
beach.
for an ice cream.
We're going to try it on this angle first of all. I'm just going to pop you up a little bit, Rachel.
Okay.
Just this coming from careful.
Are you okay there?
Yeah.
Right, so how
This is
high
very
can I go? Yeah. So
What's the deal with pulling forward?
you could go.
Yeah, just the
Quite an edge, isn't it?
if I pull forward and you push in, would that work?
Not going to get much higher. That's as high as I'm going to go.
I think almost I need to pull this way, if that's acceptable.
Yeah.
Bit,
once you get about here, then if you do what I did, where you go in and sort of aid by the hips, you are in a lovely comfortable position there, right?
Quite good.
Yeah.
It's quite a snug chair.
It's just getting over this.
much better.
It's just getting over this
My
lump,
nose.
isn't it? No, well, I think this is the medium one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's,
It's very nice.
yeah.
I think I guess it's a benefit for it being snug.
As you've got hold of it, I'll take
Yeah,
off
if
the
I was-
straps on this side.
Yeah, moving around. Oh, sorry.
It's okay, I got it.
Trying to do it.
What you have to do is go, right, you have to go underneath,
And
that's it.
back out again.
That's it.
That was a bit more straightforward.
So, would you mind just going down for me?
Yeah.
I think for this you need to
Can you
in
pull
here.
are these things on the hoist to be pulled on or not?
You can use them as a handle, but you're going to get a better position by actually coming in and
Okay.
going in by the hips. Okay, you ready? Watching your posture also when you're doing this.
Okay.
And then I would put one side down straight away. Is there sides on here? And they come out quite easily. Yeah, before you open it, I'd say just to make sure that the piston is safe. It's going to be very client specific, isn't it? Depending on who. That's great, thanks. If I hold on to this side.
Little magnet.
Anything metals.
You chose the one
Yeah.
plastic. Very good. Thank you very much.
Okay, so if you hold on to that bar for me, I'm going to try not like that so it's there. I came up easy.
Okay, so the brakes are applied. Pin comes out of the bottom of the mast. Not the mast at all. Okay, so steady the bottom. Lift up. Okay, clips into place, and then the pin goes back into the hole at the bottom, at the base there. A little bit of jiggling.
Bit of manoeuvring. There we are.
Okay, then we come down here to this little webbing strap, unclip it, spread a barge, lift up and out, and then we fold this bit away. Okay, we need to lift the mast up, and at the same time, pull the hydraulic bar out, removing the pin. Match up the holes, and then insert the pin through and reclip. Okay. Emergency stop needs to come off at this point, so a little twist to release it, and then we're just going to bring the mast up to make sure we're back.
And just go over and just do a little inspection to make sure that all of your nuts and bolts are in the correct place. There's nothing missing.
So I would advise taking it all the way up to maximum height and then back down to full lower, just to make sure we've got the full range of movement nice and smoothly and everything's in place. There we are, and then obviously you lower it all the way back down.
Which we will for dismantling.
Okay, so to disassemble, we're going to lower the mast down to its lowest point. like so.
Emergency stop.
Yeah. So we're going to remove the pin that attaches the mast to the actuator. Lift the mast up slightly and then push the actuator back into this little clip at the bottom. So you do need to put a little bit of force into it, okay? And then once it's in position, we put the pin back through the actuator and clip it off, like so.
Fabulous.
And then the mast comes all the way down.
And then down here with the spreader bar, we're going to insert the spreader bar into the clip down the cradle at the bottom. And then the strap goes over there to keep it secure.
And then through the little plastic tip clip, pull it tight to fix it in position and obviously clip it off.
I'm then going to release the clip at the bottom.
Okay, and then one person on either side, and we're just going to fold it down.
It's got the button at the back.
That was it.
Oh, well done. So there's a little pulley button at the back. Pull the button out and then start to lower it down. Okay, and then once it's in position, we can reattach the pin at the base. And then it's good to transport.